All right, let's talk South Carolina Gamecocks. Coach Beamer's having himself one heck of a, I'll call it the offseason, even though there, of course, is a bowl game left to play, and they are not done. Massive move for South Carolina. This team is getting better and better. A lot of momentum. I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, so this South Carolina football team, obviously a little bit disappointing, had an outside chance to sneak into the playoffs. I think we all understand they would have done better than Indiana or SMU, but the past is the past. We're focusing on the future, and certainly Coach Beamer and his staff is. They pulled off a recently just crazy good move for the future of this program. Great news out of Columbia. That's your neck of the woods, Mize. Let's pull up this report here first. This is a tweet or post on X, whatever you want to call it, courtesy of the great Hayes Fawcett. Highly recommend following them for all your college football breaking news in the recruiting and transfer realm. From Fawcett, breaking Ohio State true freshman quarterback Aaron Noland has committed to South Carolina. He tells at On3 Sports the 6 foot, 220-pound quarterback will have all 4 years of eligibility remaining. Was ranked as the number 5 quarterback in the 2024 class, courtesy of On3 Industry. This is pretty big news. Obviously, South Carolina's already made a lot of big moves in the transfer portal, finished the year strong. They're carrying that momentum already through the transfer part of the season. It looks like the energy is 100% with the Gamecocks right now. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on all this. But first, South Carolina fans, in the comment section below, maybe at the beginning of the season, you may have been off of the Coach Beamer train. But right now, give us your grade of how you view him as a head coach currently as it sits. Do you think he's an A coach, the right man for the job? Maybe he's a B minus, wait and see. Or maybe you still want him gone, think he's a D. Whatever it is, let's grade Beamer, put him in the comment section below. But Miles, what are your thoughts on this latest news out of Columbia?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a very interesting move, and I think it's a good move at that because if you're a South Carolina fan, you look at the team and be like, we've got our quarterback. Lenore Sellers is the guy. What are we doing here? And I will say Lenore Sellers did do pretty good this season. I think if you watch the games, he was a large part of why they were doing well on offense, but he wasn't the only part of why they were doing well on offense. And if you're being honest, a large part of him doing well is the, incredible elusiveness, ability to, scramble, make plays happen with his legs. It wasn't so much of the passing game that was elite from Lenore Sellers. You look at the evidence, no South Carolina receivers were like breaking record numbers. I think the highest guy, like 450 yards, was their leading receiver. So nothing too crazy in the passing game from Lenore Sellers. And if we're looking at his PFF grades as well, he's the 137th ranked quarterback in the NCAA overall. It just, he was good at a lot of stuff, and he wasn't even the best rushing quarterback as well. So I think he's a really talented athlete. But when you have the opportunity to bring in a guy, Aaron Noland, who was a 5-star at one point in time, this guy was the number 5 QB in the 2024 class, you got to do it and see what he's able to do. Maybe you don't bench Lenore Sellers like right away. Maybe you let him keep fighting it out and see what he can do in a season. But I think you can use these guys in tandem and it would be really smart moves. We've seen teams run dual quarterback systems before and it's to some success. I think Lenore Sellers, he's better as that for an NFL comparison. That Taysom Hill, gadget type guy who's really, really a talented athlete. Obviously 6'3", 250 pounds for a quarterback. He's a big dude. So he can do a lot of really special things, but bringing in a guy like Aaron Noland, I think that's a great move because the other thing you have to realize is Sellers did get hurt a couple of times last season and it was detrimental to the Gamecocks. That's why they lost the LSU game. If he would have been in there, I think they would have won that game. And we're probably talking about the team that was in the college football playoff right now if that didn't happen. So I think there's a couple of factors you have to consider. I think Lenore Sellers is a really great athlete. But the prospect, obviously we haven't seen him play yet, but the prospect of Aaron Noland is too good to pass up on. So I'm really glad that Coach Beamer went out and got him.
You stole the words right off from my mouth about injury concerns, right? Sellers is a great athlete. He's a great playmaker. But the reality is the best ability by far, it's cliche, but it's true, is availability. And Sellers in key moments, namely the LSU game specifically, got banged up. Not necessarily his fault, but when you're a running dynamic guy, it's certainly more likely to happen. Cost him a chance to go to the college football playoff. When you look back at it, Sellers is healthy. If they're healthy at quarterback, they beat LSU. And we're looking at a Carolina team that maybe is making you run at a national title, right? That's how close they were. That's how good they were. certainly up front at the line of scrimmage. Oh, look, Sellers was a big part of their finish. He did a lot of great things, but you certainly need quality depth at the quarterback position. But I also love the competition aspect of it. You got a little iron sharpening iron here a little bit. Sellers is a guy who obviously has to work on his passing game. What better way to motivate him than to bring in a guy who can throw the football very well, right? If you want to win titles, if you want to compete in the SEC for championships and make a serious run at a college football playoff run, you need a quarterback that can do both. You can't do what Sellers was last year. You had a phenomenal defense, you wanted a great run, but going into year 2 and beyond of him taking control of this offense, there's now an entire offseason of film. Now every single SEC coach will be able to game plan against him specifically. It will not come nearly as easy as it does in year 2. What you hope is an evolution to his game, get some passing concepts under his belt, becomes a little bit more efficient. And one way to really help with that is bringing in a guy who is known more for his passing, that they can compete against each other. I love competition. I know a lot of people are worried about, well, are we going to have a quarterback controversy? Listen, quarterback controversies sometimes work out pretty good. Look, it happened at Alabama with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. Jalen Hurts did some good things. Tagovailoa was a better passer. Tua took over, won a title. Jalen learned from that situation, went on to Oklahoma, now doing great things in the NFL, right? There's a recipe here that they can follow. I think that's what Beamer's going for. He's got his Jalen Hurts, so to speak, right now in Sellers, and now he's bringing in his Tua and Aaron Noland. And look, whoever ends up being the lead guy at the end of the season, it's just whoever's doing the best and gives his team the best chance to win. But having two guys here, iron sharpening iron, is the right strategy. It's the right move to make. And once again, South Carolina and just recruiting and transfer portal, they are crushing it. No one's talking about them right now, at least not nearly as much as they should. Obviously, the playoff going on is a little bit of a distraction from it, but Beamer is doing one heck of a job, deserves a lot of credit, and I think this Carolina Gamecocks program is one to watch heading into 2025.